All right, folks, since Elon Musk purchased Twitter, it has been imploding before our very eyes. Folks have been laid off. It's all kind of drama. He spends $44 billion. He fires the CEO, the top executives. He's cut 75% of the workforce. Now they've seen a mass exodus of employees as he announces that bankruptcy is not off the table. Racial slurs have dramatically increased. They've cut back again on the monitoring as well. The Center for Countering Digital Hate found 26,200 tweets and retweets containing the N-word were published between October 31st and November 6th. High-profile users like Whoopi Goldberg, Shonda Rhimes, and others are leaving. Advertisers are putting their money on hold. It is an absolute shit show at Twitter. Joining us now, Shireen Mitchell, social analyst and diversity strategist. Shireen, glad to have you here. I mean, I don't think we've ever seen a company just completely just erode goodwill in this quick period of time. In fact, he was tweeting today how happy he was to welcome back some folks who he fired. Because they fired people and went, oh, damn, we might need to bring them people back.
Exactly. I always find it fascinating. At the end of the day, I think some of the challenges that we have is that there are people like this who think that they can just do whatever they want on these platforms. And he's just one of those examples. He unfortunately is going to have to deal with FTC consent decrees. He also has several other items that he's going to have to deal with. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I think that people don't realize that this is not just about money. This is about all the other things that I swear that, like, they think that he can just do whatever he wants because he's now made the company private. But that's not true. He cannot do whatever he wants. And all those issues that you just mentioned are really important for us to have a conversation about, because the harms that are impacting other individuals as well as companies, by the way, also has a huge impact on at this present moment.
And again, I mean, you're seeing people who are leaving. You're seeing conservatives rejoice, saying, "Oh, he's going to make this all about free speech." But the bottom line is, it's again causing significant problems. And if you ain't making money off advertising, you're a DOA.
Absolutely. And it's really fascinating because I think that one of the things he told some of the advertisers that he knows that, like, hate speech should not be alongside advertisers, but he just greenlit Richard Spencer. How does that work?
And again, you know, one of the things that when you listen to again these conservatives who are just sort of elated because they've been angry that Donald Trump was banned by Twitter as well, and this was a place for people to be able to communicate, to be able to share. We hear about Black Twitter as well, and it's literally been destroyed before our very eyes. Some 240 million users across the world. So this is not a plaything.
No, and actually it's a global thing as well. I think that people miss the part that a lot of some of the organizing, some of the things that's happening in Iran and other countries, they've used Twitter to organize. They've also used Twitter to let other people know what's going on, to get the supports that they need. So it wasn't just a random thing that he's doing. I think that in some ways he knows that this platform has been used to help with, Arab Spring in 2009, other aspects that we now know are happening other places. I think there was like a big pivotal moment during Ferguson where people from, Palestine was telling Black people, Black Lives Matter, how to deal with, the tear gas and things like that. And that was being shared on Twitter. I think the broader context of what Twitter was being used for is something that he's actually been participating in trying to dismantle, in addition to, quote unquote, saying free speech by allowing people who are harmful, who are trying to spread mis and disinformation, who are basically being violent in their rhetoric against other groups of people, giving them blue checks and the ability to say whatever they want on his platform.
One of the things that, again, is interesting when you look at how people are responding. Earlier today, I saw a clip that was on this one put out, and how how they're being mocked for decisions that they make. Harris Faulkner and Mercedes Schlapp was one of those folks who were just mocking people, and everything they want to throw out is like woke, 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 woke. I'm going to find the clip, but all of these conservatives are rejoicing in it. But the reality is they've tried to create their own platforms, and all of them have massively failed to be able to match the success of Twitter.
Yeah, because I think that people don't realize is that when you get into what we call, what I've been calling, social media segregation, you're basically talking to yourselves, right? It's an ecosystem, and you're basically having the same conversations with the same people who believe what you believe. With something like Twitter, because it was more of an open network versus a closed network, Facebook is kind of a closed network because you have to be friends unless your post is public, and people can shut their posts down or the like. But on Twitter, like, people can search Twitter and still see conversations happening across the globe. People can have all their different versions of identities. If you're a disabled person, you can have a conversation with people in disabled Twitter. You can have people with conversations in Black Twitter, and there's intersections in between. And usually when these people try to go off and do their own segregated platforms, they fail because they're only talking to themselves. They're only repeating each other's rhetoric. And usually in that moment, if you don't realize, they don't have people that they can attack unless they're attacking each other. And they don't want to be attacking each other. They want to attack other groups of people. And I do think that's one of the reasons why it fails.
Are we literally seeing the demise? Because I just can't imagine advertisers continuing to spend money on this platform knowing full well that this dude is just nuts. He just, he will go here, go there in a heartbeat.
So I think the advertisers would not. I mean, to be honest, right? You want to be able to trust where you're spending your money. If this person decides today, like, oh, you spent your money on this, but that was a promise and a contract that we agreed on, but today I don't want to do that. I'm going to do something different with your money. I think that's the part that people don't understand. Like, advertisers don't want that kind of instability, and that's what he's been proven to be doing. The other thing that's really clear is the systems themselves are being dismantled. The infrastructure is being dismantled. At some point, some of these things are not going to work properly because the people who could make it work properly are the people that were fired. I think his name is Simon. I think it's Luke Simon, who was like the senior director of engineering, basically fired people and then went into Slack and said, hey, we're going to ask these people back, but we're only asking them back for their knowledge and the things that they worked on. But these were lazy people, and they're not going to be here for a long period of time. Imagine being asked to come back to dump your knowledge into a company and then be fired again. Like, that is literally the problem that we're having, because they don't realize is that knowledge transfer should have happened before you fired anybody. But when you make a blanket firing like they did with the 3,700, and then later did it to like 4,000 and something for the contractors who were also dealing with content moderation and making sure that there were certain things in place. That, like, why would advertisers want to be in a system that they know is eventually going to break and not work properly?
This is what took place. Just the sheer silliness of Harris Faulkner on Fox News. And I don't know why in the hell they're platforming that nutcase Mercedes Schlapp, who and her husband, they run CPAC. But just watch this, folks. And again, they're mocking all the people who are there at Twitter and some of the cuts he's making. But these are the same people who use the very same platform. So let me go see if I can just play this here.
What? It's not even Friday yet, baby. Welcome back. Elon Musk first banned working from home, and now he's getting away with free lunches for employees.
Hold on
who
one second.
survived the chopping
We'll have
block
it for you in a
Twitter's
second.
Headquarters in San Francisco.
Once
he says
Control lets me know. But again, what you're seeing are people who think this is a joke, but we're talking about employees. We're talking about people who can't afford publicists and marketers, and people who literally utilize this platform for messaging. I mean, it serves a crucial purpose.
It does, and it's not just the marketing purpose, which is like from a corporate perspective, a lot of marketers have used this platform for that. In many instances, you've seen the way that they've done outreach, the way they've used influencers to get their message out, the way that they've reached their target markets based on using platforms like Twitter and Facebook. But it's also, campaigns and politics. They've used it for those political frameworks. Like many of the aspects that we just saw during the election was being used. And the fact that he decided to quote unquote break Twitter just before the election is also a key part of this. So like even doing any digital organizing or getting any politician to participate in doing outreach with their videos, those are ads that they're also paying on Twitter as well. So it's not just the activists, but it's all these key pieces of how we operate in society with ads. And he's basically saying, I don't care about those ads unless it caters to what I want this platform to be. And he's saying for free speech, while basically, dismantling free speech for certain people.
Questions from the panel. Let's see. Rebecca, you first.
Sure. So my question for you is, what's the path forward? Right now, we see that Twitter isn't capable of protecting those of us who are on Twitter and protecting us against targeted hate. So what's the path forward? How do we as users who are still on the platform navigate this until either we migrate to a different platform or Twitter or Elon Musk figures this out?
I don't expect Elon Musk to figure this out, by the way. He happens to be one of those people who believe that he's the one that can fix it. And the people who could fix it, he let go. So I think the reality that I think that for all of us that we need to face is that we need to be able to still operate in this platform. So one of the first things I tell people to do, download your data now, get everything you can off the platform that you've put up here, because that's your content. Make sure you have it and make sure you have any backup versions of that if you want to share that content anywhere else. But the other piece is that I've seen groups leave en masse, but I've also seen groups huddle together and say, we're going to do our best to protect as many people as we can on this platform and making sure that they're paying attention. And here's the key thing. I saw many instances where government officials were being tagged as, mis or disinformation. That's going to be a problem because official sites like the National Wildfire, one of the National Wildfire Associations, their official status was removed. Their blue check might be there, but there will be mimics of that. So now we have to have people paying closer attention to seeing whether or not these are really official organizations or entities or not, because now anyone can buy a blue check mark. It does not mean that they're official. It does not mean they're a real person. It also does not mean that this is not someone who's there to commit some harmful acts. I would say still report them, document it, but ultimately where people are going at this point is places like Counter Social, Mastodon. I'm seeing other aspects of people trying to do community building and other aspects. But up until that moment that we find where everyone else is going, right now some people are still staying to try to make sure that they can have that community.
Before I go to Larry, here again is the mocking of Harris, Faulkner, Mercedes. I mean, this is just how silly these people are.
What? It's not even Friday yet, baby. Welcome back. Elon Musk first banned working from home, and now he's getting away with free lunches for employees who survived the chopping block at Twitter's headquarters in San Francisco. He says Twitter spends $13 million a year on food service. And that, quote, badge-in records show peak occupancy was 25%, average occupancy below 10%. There are more people preparing breakfast than eating breakfast. They don't even bother serving dinner because there is no one in the building. But the move drew rapid criticism from former Twitter employees. Who would have guessed? All right. A Democrat activist who tweeted, quote, he fired 3/4 of the employees and now he's planning to starve the rest of them. Oh, Mercedes.
I can't. This is worse than Biden's student loan forgiveness program. I'm serious. Look, Harris, I think that it is a former woke company that is going broke, and Elon is trying to save it. And that's really the result of this. When you're talking about the fact that in San Francisco alone, hardly anyone was going to work. They're spending a ton of money on the property itself. Why not make these fundamental changes? So he did come in with the sink. He's making a statement. He's trying to make sure they don't have to go bankrupt, but it's going to be painful. And these Twitter employees, which are snowflakes, can't handle it. And and so we welcome the change. We want to see Twitter really become this platform for free speech and this platform to make sure that it actually can survive when it's being mismanaged by a bunch of liberal woke, management types that are now gone.
So, Mark, this may be a little fruitful.
Boy, I love it how we just work in woke there several times, Larry. And that's really what is at play here. They can't stand the fact that people actually have a point of view and get to express it, and we can blast people like her. Matter of fact, let me see the tweet showing how stupid she is right now. Go ahead.
Yeah, she got in all the adjectives she could to describe some people that Fox likes to make fun of. So, one of the things I want to highlight is and ask the question I want to ask is in terms of, we talked about Black Twitter, and obviously Black Twitter. I've even saw something the last couple of days about folks talking about boycotting Twitter. I think even tomorrow, and I'm just curious what people think about. Some overall my question is, what could happen if Black Twitter en masse leaves, and what does that mean for the future of Twitter, and then secondly, does that mean there will be some other platform that members of the Black community will create? Yeah,
I would love, Shireen, that Black people actually did that and went to fan base because the bottom line is, we make folk stuff sexy. And again, that's supporting something that's Black owned. That'd be great. Shireen, go ahead.
No, absolutely. I mean, but we have to also remember, like, I think this is part of the key piece of that is that, remember, we had that before, right? We had Black Planet. Like, don't forget, y'all. Like, it's not like we didn't do this.
Well, actually, Black Planet still exists. It's owned by Urban One, their Interactive One division.
But not as many people are using it, right?
Right, precisely.
Exactly. That's my point. At the time when it was still a website, there was plenty of people who were using it. It's now moved to mostly a mobile app, and we're not seeing the same kind of movement there. So that's the example that I'm sharing, that we have the capacity to build our own, but we don't necessarily do that. Fanbase is another example. I think that if Black people leave Twitter en masse, I think that is something that's going to definitely have an impact on the platform for sure, because I think most of the culture of Twitter has come from Black Twitter. I also think that also speaks to a level of where do we go next? Where does the collective go? And where do we go that we can have full impact? And I think there's a difference there. Like, again, it becomes a little bit of a social media segregation. It's just us talking to each other and not crossing our intersections or other communities, which is what Twitter gave us the opportunity to do as a very public platform. I think the other key thing, though, I think about the food thing, I just want to make sure that we're clear about this. Y'all seen the photos, right, of people sleeping on the floor trying to complete the jobs of things that people were fired from. And here he's cutting food, right? So they're supposed to sleep at the place that they are, but they're not supposed to wake up and be able to get something to eat. I don't think people are connecting the full dots. They think this is some kind of like, oh, I'm just taking one, this really simple thing away from these people. But these are the same people he's asking them to come in now and stay and work late. And then basically what they're supposed to stay in the building and starve to death. It's just really fascinating to me about the way people interpret that. So I think there's a combination of things about that clip. Is this conversation of woke. It's still a conversation about, like, what are Black people able to do on these platforms and how much are we protected and where can we go to still have our voices heard, and not just amongst ourselves, but across other communities as well.
Michael.
On the regulation side, Senator Markey, it was today or yesterday, said that if platforms like a Twitter, I think he was using social media totally, but Twitter in particular, if they don't fix it, we will, we being Congress. Do you think that's the appropriate message And what legislative fixes do you think need to come in besides the obvious ones of hate speech and those kind of things?
I think the Markey thing, I think people are misunderstanding the Markey piece. Right now, all of the compliance officers have left. All of them. The major privacy compliance and internet compliance and a couple of others, security compliance, they're all gone. They left because right now, Twitter is supposed to be answering to a dissent decree with the FTC. Markey is not making a threat for something down the road. This is literally right now in front of Twitter. And he's pretending like he doesn't have to do anything about it. I think there was like a email that went out from one of his personal lawyers that said like he put ships on space, so like Congress means nothing to him, and he's literally saying things out loud that says that Congress means nothing. I think that there's a problem when people don't realize that there's actual laws that need to be fulfilled, and he's basically saying that as him being a genius and a billionaire, he doesn't have to comply to any laws or anything like that. And I think that that's part of the problem. I think that people don't understand. He took it over at a point where they have to report out, and someone has to sign that compliance agreement. And the people who were willing to do that, who had the capacity to do that, to make sure Twitter was doing what it was supposed to do, those people walked out. They weren't fired. They walked out.
Well, we'll see what happened next, but it's drama every single day with Twitter. Shireen, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for having me.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Mark Unfiltered video in just one moment.
We are in sunny South Dallas. The election is coming up. It's super important that folks know who they are voting for, but more importantly, what they are voting for. Y'all, we got the free shirts and free lunch right over here.
Freedom is our birthright. No matter what we're up against, we're sending a message in Dallas and Texas and in this country. We won't back down. That's what this bus tour is all about.
The housing cost is one of the most capitalized areas that we have found. People who are marginalized, that are brown and black, we are suffering the most, and I think that we have the biggest vote and the biggest impact in this election.
I'm voting for affordable housing, for sure.
We should not be paying the cost of a utility failure because our elected officials are too proud to say we need help.
I know that we can bring out our people to vote. It's a part of our birthright. Right. It's a part of our heritage, and surely it's a part of our present and part of our future.
That's right. That's what's up. And we won't black down. Forward that message to 5 friends, because in that message, it's got links to how to get registered, how to check your registration status.
Like I said, 2:30 we'll start rendezvousing right here on this street. I am voting to let our voice be heard in the rural communities that, hey, we are people too. There are things that we need.
Free shirts, free food, and lots of power.
We are in Longview, Texas, where Black Voters Matter, 365.
Whatever type of oppression a white supremacist throws our way, we will not black down. We are in relentless pursuit of liberation of our people.
Freedom is liberation for black bodies and black communities to make economic change through political power.
Freedom is choice.
We won't black down.
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 Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punches! I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?